Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this. Council highlights from February 9th on Monday. So starting with the Committee of the Whole meeting. First one was the Northeast Area Structure Plan Functional Servicing Report. So this was V3 Companies of Canada, who's the consultant that's working with us on the Northeast Area Structure Plan. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this one because I wasn't able to make it. I watched it online a little bit. But lots of discussion around how the residential areas are going to be built out, and community amendment and amendments? Whatever. You know what I mean. How the community's built out and what commercial's going there, what residential, how that's working out, and then kind of how the phases of how the area is built out. So you can watch that. It was recorded on YouTube, so you can watch that if you're interested in that conversation. When we went into the actual Committee of the Whole meeting at 1 o'clock, first delegation we had was from our Chamber of Commerce, and basically they had a request for us to become a member of the Chamber of Commerce, which talking with council afterwards, nobody has any concerns with us being a member of the chamber. I think it's fine. It's only a $317 membership, and helps them out. And we do have a representative from council that sits on, a non-voting member that sits on the chamber board. But this just makes us a member and helps to provide some financial contribution there at $317. So that'll come back to regular council for formal adoption. The film industry, we received a report on the film and what revenue it comes back in. Total impact to the community is about 1.1 million in 2025, and that's everything from the rates that they pay when they use our streets. And yes, there's a daily rate. If you close down a sidewalk, close down a street, you do all these things, they pay for that. As well as, what they pay for rental of the Memorial Center, what they pay for hiring extras and their crew staff that are local, and all of the money that they put in that is a direct impact to High River is approximately 1.1 million. So there is, I know it can be a bit of a pain in the butt sometimes when they're shutting streets down and stuff, but they're also very, very good to work with, where they come in, they do their thing, they clean up, and they're gone. Like it's quite an amazing thing. Anybody that's ever watched the film industry do their thing, it's pretty awesome, and I think for the most part they respect the community they're in, and they respect the businesses that they're impacting, and the residents that they're impacting. So we love having them, and they like being here. So away we go. Sport fields updates. This is goes back into the budget piece. So we've, with consultation with the sport groups between soccer and baseball, through this year's budget that I'm going to get into in a minute here, about $28,000 is what we're putting into upgrading the ball diamond up at Highwood High, and trying to get the soccer pitch at Holy Spirit up to a grade A standard, so that there's not gopher holes and everything else and rocks on the ball diamond, shale, etc. So we're putting money into that. Probably won't happen until fall to do that work, but regardless, we're committed to helping it out. And there was lots of discussion on what a future sport field, complex kind of area, much like what they have in Okotoks and other communities, where it's have 4 ball diamonds and a couple of full-blown soccer pitches all together in an area. So we've actually requested staff to look into that, get some numbers together, how much land do we need, so that we can start planning for that for the future. So that's all good. A couple of variance applications for a couple of residents, new home builds in High River. Minor variance requests, and we gave the green light on both of those. So that was it for committee of the whole. Then we went into the regular council meeting. The biggest one that we did on Monday was approve the operating budget. Operating budget in the amount of $36,711,000 for the 2026 calendar year. Capital budget for new projects being $4.1 million, and carry forward from previous years on other projects that have been approved and still working their way through it. $9.7 million. That's not new. That's carryover. Only the 4.1 is new, and I'll get into what that looks like. The municipal tax levy. So the $36 million operating budget, the municipal tax levy that the community actually pays, outside of grants and everything, what you pay on your taxes and how much that goes, comes to $17.7 million is what the community taxes, residential and commercial, which is 3.3% tax rate increase. Pretty standard. Other communities are higher. I know city of Calgary was 1.9, I think, but I don't know how they're doing that. Anyways, not my city to worry about. But the 3.3%, so I'll just go through what some of the projects. You can watch the whole meeting. We went through lots of feedback from, comments from council and everything else. So one of the library, we're doing some catch-up funding there, as well as for their fee for services, and an operational increase. So the total on operational to the library is 133. We gave increase to the handy bus at 25,000. That's to help upgrade their vehicles for that. So that's good for the community. Gift of music, that was a $7,000 touch that gave to that group that does an amazing job providing that entertainment in High River. And then the big list on capital projects, the stuff that remained in, there's a $50,000 for a ramp that was requested by residents at the Medicine Tree Manor. They want to get up onto the berm quicker so they can access George Lane Park easier. So we looked at a number of 2 or 3 different areas where that would work, and chose at the end of 9th Avenue because there's sidewalks all the way there, and so we'll build a ramp that gets them up onto that berm with wheelchairs and scooters, these kinds of things, so that in the summertime they can get down and watch things like the Gift of Music and the Venue's summertime series of music. Recreation center, those of you that play hockey or ringette or figure skating or anything, we're all tired of looking at that orange tarp, so we're we've got the money in place to fix the door now, 70,000. Museum needs an air conditioning service, 19. Sprung door at Public Works, this is the sprung building that all of our garbage trucks and snow plows and everything stay warm in the winter. Needs a new door, so 52,000 for that. Little Bow School out at Shepherd Family Park needs a new roof, so that's 20,000. New snow plow. Everybody's commenting about how snow removal is, that'll never get fixed though. But anyways, we're buying a new snow plow, 515,000. New battery for the Zamboni at the rec center. Rotary windmills. This is for the center or the McLeod Trail roundabout. It's a joint project that we're doing with Rotary that has these big, I think they're copper windmills that go around and kind of highlight different entities in High River, but it's in relation to celebrating the Rotary's 100th anniversary. So we're working together on that. Our portion is just the landscaping on the roundabout. The Rotary paid for the windmills and the install and everything else. So, water treatment plant, it's a dewatering system, $30,000. Got to keep the water treatment plant functioning properly. 112th Street assessment, so this is the 112th Street road out there. We're going to do some geotech and get a study done as to what condition that road's in, so that we know in the future whatever repairs we do to it or rebuild, what that's actually going to cost. Fire truck computer refresh, pretty important thing to have computers working properly in the fire trucks, $45,000. Fire rescue tools, $108,000. It's pretty important that the fire department has the proper rescue tools they need. As I mentioned before, the sport field upgrades, $28,000. Transportation master plan, $75,000. Now, if you're wondering what the transportation master plan is all about, the one we have is about 10 or 12 years old right now. We need to update it because there's the new developments, more traffic in town. That document has to be updated because it's what is in direct relation to charging off-site levies to developers for their development. So that's extremely important that we have that always up to date. Library, again, over there for accessibility upgrades. This is for lighting and their parking area out front, $425,000. Now, that's not direct relation to a tax increase. That comes from grant money, CAS tax money. And our website, it's out of date, so we got to start a new website. We're putting $50,000 to that this year. There'll be $50,000 going next year. A big one, part of that, $4 million, is $2.3 million goes to up on Crescent Ave, up by the Water Tower Park, the Connects Water Tower Park up there. $2.3 million, that's a full road rip up and new infrastructure put in there and everything. Those are expensive projects to do. And there's a backwash water system at the water treatment plant as well. So that's kind of the highlights. Another piece that I want to mention, there's two pieces of borrowed money that we paid off last year, $466,000 that freed up. And what we're doing with that money is that goes directly to the large ice door, the overhead door, and the sport field. So that comes out of that, which leaves $310,000. And what we're doing, that goes into a reserve account. Now, council's currently discussing reserve accounts, and one of the big ones is that I believe we absolutely need a recreation reserve for future recreation projects. We got a ton of pressure coming to us on the sport fields, like I mentioned before, the ball diamonds, etc., and the soccer pitches. A lot of pressure there. Also got a lot of pressure on a new hockey rink. And what a new hockey rink looks like, well, you can go from just a single rink, if it's standalone in a new location in High River, you're looking at about $40 million touch for that. Now, if you want to go to the other request that what I'm getting from a couple of groups is to a Junior A hockey team coming to High River. Now, the Junior A groups, they want all the bells and whistles, almost to an NHL level. But if you're looking at 1,000, 1,500 seat arena, probably 1,000, you're still about $90 million to build that facility. So, and those are real numbers. That comes from other facilities that are being built right now or in the last couple of years. So don't tell me I got my head up my arse, because it's real. I know people. And I've looked into it heavy with these guys, so as to what the future of new recreation facilities look like. They're expensive. They're big. What else do I got, Michelle?
High Country Drive.
Oh yeah, High Country Drive. Where is that? Thanks. Thank God Michelle's here. Okay, back to the budget. I will comment on cost of living increases for all of our staff. We did a 2% increase for our staff. This is extremely important stuff, and I know there's always going to be people on Facebook and rant and rave and everything else where all the big information comes from. I know some of you are going to criticize us doing that, but we have to run this organization. That's it. This is our responsibility, is to run this organization properly, which runs the town properly. And in order to do that, we need to attract great staff, we need to retain great staff. And part of that is proper compensation for staff. And it doesn't matter if I'm running my own business, I have to do that. If I want the staff that I want, and I want the level of talent that I want, I gotta pay. And there's increases that come with that. So yes, that is extremely important, and it's, whether it's the engineering department that you need for a development permit, whether it's the planning department you need for a development permit, there is high demand from these industries that want, when they come to the front counter, they want people that are experienced and know. And in order for us to hire and retain good, qualified, experienced people, they need to be compensated properly, because the city of Calgary and the town of Okotoks are our two biggest competitors on staff, and they both pay more. And that's all there is to it. And so we have to keep pace with this. And that's where the 2% comes from. Now, I'll also mention that yes, absolutely, the 2% does involve council as well. Your mayor and your 6 councillors are part of this 2% increase. Now, if you look at the wages that we make, we're getting the number for everybody so that you know. But the COLA increase for council is about $4,500 across the board. So I'll leave that with you. And again, if council does not take these increases, that only sets up future councils for being at a lower rate than everybody else. Most communities do this, and this is we reviewed our council compensation last year. We had an independent group, third party, that reviewed our compensation compared to others in the community, and they said we're right about where we should be, they felt. And council didn't do any massive increases at that, but that's why the 2% is important for not just to compensate your current council, but also to make sure that the rate is in the right place for future councils that come on board. Another one on the operational increases for the budget, aquatics, 7 months, let's just say, the aquatics facility is about a $250,000 increase to the aquatics. Yes, for part of that is for the expanded facility. Expanded facility costs more to operate. You need more people. But it's also from a high demand that came to us a year and a half ago as to how we operate the current pool. Before we were, the tradition in High River was to hire a lot of casual part-time lifeguards, which is an absolute nightmare to manage, and staff come and go because there's no consistency to their work. And it became a major problem. We filled council chambers with people from the aquatics groups that were upset with how that was going. So we're going back to hiring more full-time lifeguards and making sure that we have the proper staff and the proper trained staff to operate that facility properly. So that's why that's there. It's not all just the new facility, it's partial just operating the existing one better as well. So, but the whole thing will be open in June. It's going to be wicked. You saw the water slide, so it's fantastic. There's other things that are completely out of our control. $175,000 estimate for due to the RCMP contract negotiations that the federal government's doing. We're going to be responsible for those increases, plus back pay that we got hit with a couple of years ago as well, that took out a ton of our money that we had saved for that, knowing it was coming. And then throughout, Chris is always, our CAO is always very good at making sure all our departments are keeping their budgets real and tight, and there's about $100,000 reductions in each through all the departments on how they do. And you know, I'm going to make one piece about, because everybody kind of has a comment about anytime we do a tax increase, and it's been minimal over 12 years I've been here. There's some people that most people understand it. There's also some people that don't like it, but they also don't want to do much in town. They don't want to do new things. They don't want to upgrade things. They just want to keep that tax rate and be able to say they didn't do a tax rate or keep it as low as they possibly can. That's not responsible government. I'm sorry, it's just not. We have high demands from whether it's snow clearing or whether it's the aquatics or whether it's the hockey or music or everything in town comes to us, and we're doing our damnedest. And going through the budget this year, there's a lot of things that we just took out that we couldn't afford. We didn't feel it was a high enough priority that it made it in. One is the Wallaceville lighting. We had a big request to come and do lighting along the Wallaceville pathway because somebody felt it was too dark. Well, that's $500,000 to do that. Well, that's out because we got 28 kilometers of happy trails. And are you gonna light all of it? If that little chunk is $500,000, well, good Lord, trying to do 28 kilometers of all the areas that are dark. So those are the things. We balance this out and we make it happen. But if you're looking for a low tax rate, I've never professed to be a tax hero in this position at all. We have to build this community out to be the great community that it is, and in order to do that, there's tax revenue that's required to do that. We ask for it. It's our responsibility to pay our taxes and get those services and the amenities that we need. There's the word. Nailed it. Okay, continuing on, there's the budget. High Country Drive, the next big one. So what we did, I'll take the Coles notes of the discussion. What it's going to be now is it's going to be a four-way stop. All of those temporary things are going to come out shortly. I just talked to our CAO about the timing of that, which isn't going to take long. Get the temporaries out there. There's going to be, Councillor Cooey kept calling them pork chops, but there's these tiny little pieces of concrete that come out just to get the stop sign out off the curb so that drainage can happen properly. If you want to see a picture or you want to see them, there's a couple of them around other places around town, primarily over by the manor, that have been there for years, and they work great. Just gets the stop sign out, so it'll be a four-way stop. These little things, it's going to cost us about $20,000 to $28,000 to get this all cleaned up and done. So that was voted on. It's done. It's happening. Away we go. And labor item, the board and committee appointments. We just appointed a couple individuals. So Andy Dirksen was appointed to the CVAC committee, the High River Library Board, and the Subdivision Development Appeal Board. Terms ending in February, or start dates February 10th, and expiry of October 31st, 2028. And Tyler Cameron was appointed to the Assessment Review Board and the Subdivision Development Appeal Board. So that's it. Long one today, but big items with the budget and everything. If you got any questions, you can reach out to me or any other member of council or staff. So there it is. Have fun. Rock and roll.